All right. Trying out the new chest harness. I'm trying to get something to make my life a little bit easier about taping. You guys have probably noticed I've been taking a little break. It's mostly because I just don't feel like filming myself. I wish I had a camera crew, but I don't. I used to walk down to the pond when I was a kid and fish. This reminds me of that, so I wanted to record it. I walk down here all the time to watch out on these rocks. Break my dang neck. To come out here and sweep this off. We've got some older residents this is dangerous for. I'll hit it with the blower later. Anyways, I don't know what it'll be like down here today. Sometimes it's like Jumanji down here with all the animals. One scary thing that happened right down there, and I'll show you what I'm fishing with today too. But right down there in that corner, I was walking back up. It was in the evening, you know, some mosquitoes were getting bad, and I was getting off the water, and there was a bear in that yard. He was growling at me. He was pissed off. I don't know why. It was pretty scary. He growled at me till I got to about right here, and it started down there. It sounded huge. I never really saw it. It was right at dark. I didn't really expect. I didn't have any bear spray or anything. I was in a bad position. Maybe walking around talking into this thing will help keep the bears away. They're really usually scared of you. I don't know why it acted like that. I never saw it. I just heard it. It was either that or Sasquatch, because I don't know what else could sound that big, growling. It was right over there. Right over there. Anyway, I'm fishing with this mega bass bait today. I think it's called the Battalion. It floats high up in the water. It's got that nice kind of strike indicator type of paint on the top. You can see it. It darts pretty well. Done caught a few fish on it. And a Daiwa rod and looks like a Daiwa reel. Oops, I break my neck. Like I said, if I don't watch where I'm going, I'm gonna die. Anyway, that's the rig for this trip. See if we see any wildlife. This is usually the spot they start showing up. I tell you, it's important to, if you're coming to Florida to fish for these Florida fish, I wouldn't get too experimental with the lure presentations. These guys are finicky. A lot of pressure out here with the live bait for years. There's lots of guides here, and there's lots of, they usually do it with the shiners, with the live bait presentations. And I think that there's, you know, plenty of high public fishing pressure with lures as well, but I don't know, I've just noticed the difference between where I used to fish and where I am now. These bass are a little more finicky, a little bit harder to catch on artificials. Very much reminds me of like any world-class trout fishery or bass fishery. There's a turkey feather. Any world-class fishery, I guess I would summarize that. When you get into the places where the fish are really good, they tend to be really hard to catch. So, is there an abundance of large bass out here? Absolutely. Are they the hardest fish to catch on the planet? Absolutely. They're into a unique situation here where, you know, anybody can fish. It's public water. And there's guided fishing. There's professional fishermen doing it for a living. Adds another layer. You know, I'm going to ease down here. I bet that shade line is still near the good spot. Let's go this way for a minute. Usually I go out on the dock, but the dock's in full sun. No critters down here today. Like I said, there's usually turkey. These folks here feed them. Have little bird feeders and stuff that the squirrels kick the seed to the ground and the turkeys come and get it, and rinse and repeat kind of situation, I guess. I feel like the camera's shaking too much with the way I'm walking, maybe not. Anyway, back to the point. The pressure, the fishing pressure changes things, and usually not for the better, no matter where you fish. Now, usually I stand down near the boat ramp, but I think I'm going to stand up high and cast over there. Maybe we have a little bit better angle on this camera. And the shade line's already gone, so yeah, we can at least make a, okay, I hear you, you're upset. Here's a unique presentation that we can discuss, especially when you're pond fishing. It probably applies right here as well, though. See how the light, like we're in the shade and the light is out there. That's what I'm calling the shade line. When we're in the shade, we have a visual advantage over what's in the sun. So anything out there looking in can't see in as far as we can see looking out. And that's not only true here. You see that roll right there? It's true underwater as well. And bass will use that to their advantage to hunt, to get themselves a little bit closer to the prey. They'll sit just inside the shade line and use that visual advantage to hunt. I like this lure. It's a little slower presentation from the bank. You know, I don't have to work it real quick. Just let it float. It's not going to get snagged up as long as I don't reel it right into this stump. The stump is right there where that weird swirl is. I saw something out there. Right in there. Get a little pace to it, see if I can get a... There's some little shad or something jumping from the lure. It's a good sign. There's some fish around. Little small stuff. So, using the shade to our advantage is important, especially in ponds, because you get into a situation in your pond where, did you guys see that eelgrass coming off there? That's not a bad thing. Eelgrass recovery in here. Your bass will be smart, just like they are in here. And they're smart in a different way, really. These fish are naturally finicky and, you know, really smart. But it's not that your bass won't get that way too in your ponds. You know, they know you. They know the pattern. They know. Think about it from their perspective. If this chop is on the water, will limit the visibility of the fish. That's another thing. If I walked up here and it was glass calm, that gives the fish a visual advantage to see me outside the water. But with this little breeze coming this way and a little chop, now they can't see me as well. I'm not overly concerned about it here. But in a small pond where you have to walk up to that edge of the water every time you fish there, or walk down, you know, get on the boat or the kayak or whatever, those fish will figure that pattern out. Oh, all right, about a 30-minute break there. Neighbors coming down to chit chat. I'm trying to think to go back to what I'm thinking about here, or was talking about on that edit. I believe we were talking about shade lines and being careful about presenting yourself. I mean, here's a perfect example right here. See my my shadow? You walk this bank and cast that shadow out into the water. Okay, you're tipping the fish off in the pond. They can see that, even without, you know, even if there's a refraction on the water. So on your ponds that are heavily pressured, start treating it more like bow hunting. Wear camouflage clothes. Approach the pond from behind trees, right? Pick a different way to approach your pond. Don't come down the same path every single time. Let's walk over to the dock. Not really doing any good right here anyway. See what's going on over there. Can you continue this idea down if you have a dock, right? As we get over there, it'll make a little more sense. I see a crow. I see two crows. Never any wildlife when I've got the camera on. Because sometimes it's like Jumanji down here, just every animal on the planet. Come down here this evening, have a drink with Jim, record his backyard. It's like a Disney movie at night. Everything gets into the bird seed. All right, so back to the point. And the point is how we're tipping our hands, you know, before we even get our chips on the table. Here we come up on the dock, right? Well, what do I know about the dock? The dock's not any different than a boat, really. You tap the edge of a boat, and you're announcing to everything in the lake, there's a boat here. Just that one tap. Well, all this wood connects to pilings. Those pilings get vibrations. So if I stomp this wood, you know, if I come in real heavy with my feet, all right, I'm making an announcement. And I know this is a truth because on the docks where you walk out onto a feeder, right, the fish get conditioned to the feeder in a positive way. So they're conditioned to the footsteps in a positive way. But if it's the opposite, right, and every time they feel the vibration, the bait goes down and, you know, they get caught, they get stressed, right? That is the opposite situation. They're not being rewarded with feed, they're being caught. So the vibration then is going to reinforce something negative, and it doesn't take them very long to learn, right? Just not at all. Let's see if we can get over here. Usually they're like right in here if we're going to get one. This place is a salad bowl. Hey, eelgrass. Everybody's been having a panic attack about that. There's some growing right over there. Okay, all is right with the world. The eelgrass is back. That means the fish is fine. The fish have been saved. It's kind of an irritating bit of misinformation I'm making fun of. So the fishing in this lake, and this is Rodman for anybody who doesn't know, Rodman Reservoir, has dropped off like any lake. It's older, it's getting older, and the fishing's not what it used to be. And that has to do with, you know, multiple factors. Mostly, like if I go to a pond, if you say, hey, the fishing used to be great here and now it's terrible, I'm thinking about what happened, like what fish have been stocked in this pond that have disrupted the balance, that have created the poor fishing. Because that's a pattern that I've seen like over the years, right? It's a balance issue. It has to do with what fish are here and how are they impacting one another. You kind of have to think about it like pie. I've used a pie as an example, as a total amount of forage, but then that gets confusing when you're talking about multiple species. It's easy to think about like all the fish in the lake as one pie, right? So and as one fish population expands, it takes away from another, right? Now, something needs to smoke that right there. Come on, one time. But we can also think about if we had multiple pies, right? As one fish population grows, it takes away from another. So the pie is getting smaller and smaller for the bass as, say, like the blue tilapia population or the plico population increases, right? Like it's removing bass from the system with displacement. Because it's a limit. It would be like having a full glass of water and then putting ice in it. That's a good way to describe it. The ice will displace the water, right? And have some come out of the glass. Tilapia, like these huge tilapia, they're like 5 pounds. You guys see me shoot them. You know, every one of those tilapia is displacing 5 pounds of bluegill, 5 pounds of shiners, 5 pounds of a more beneficial forage for our largemouth bass. So over time, as those tilapia build up, as that population increases, something else has to decrease, right? And I don't know what that something else is. And people will automatically go, well, those tilapia, those are forage for bass. Yeah, when they're small. But again, I'm talking about 5 pound tilapia here, right? I'm not talking about the small tilapia that get mopped up quickly. Like we see that all the time. Like you can barely find a tilapia in here that's even the size of this lure, right? I've put this underwater camera down and seen a few about twice this size, but most of the reproduction just gets smoked. You don't see a big diverse population of tiny tilapia in here. So all those big tilapia are displacing something. Well, they're displacing bass and they're displacing what bass eat, right? So as the tilapia pie grows, the bass pie decreases. The bluegill pie decreases. You know? The shad, the shiner, all decrease. Let's see if something up here shallow. And that's how that works. And I wish the facts mattered to these guys more, but it seems like especially with the fish handling, where the fish handling facts just don't matter. There was one video the other day that was just atrocious with the fish handling, and I don't know if I went about handling it the right way. I basically disrespected everybody on there the way they disrespected that bass. I don't think anybody's picking up on that. Just approached it as you guys are incapable of learning because you haven't learned it by now. You're not gonna. I learned about safe fish handling in 1993. I became very enlightened about how to handle every kind of fish safely, but especially bass. And I was shocked when I learned it to see like how poorly on television, you know, the fish handling practices were. Man, something should just dust that right there. I get bit right here sometimes. Get out of there. And over the last 30 years, you know, those fish handling practices have not changed really much at all. I see terrible handling of fish, transportation of fish to different places, what we shouldn't be doing, you know, restocking large fish into ponds, shouldn't be doing any of that stuff. That's all really, really bad. We've covered it multiple times. I'm not going to get a stick in a dead horse at this point. You know what I mean? Beating a dead horse, but uh-oh, that's a bad cast. Let's see if I can work it around those pads. Sometimes this thing will come through. Maybe I can get it right through that little cut. I got snagged in something. I got it to jump though. That was cool. Hey, it's still got some action. Oh. Well, I'm gonna go edit this, go check out the audio, see how I like this. Ooh, well, maybe I'll just wait one more second. Just one more cast. Oh, come on, leaf. Come on. Killing me, leaf. You're killing me, leaf. We might catch a fish right quick. It might be a mudfish following it back up. Sometimes they'll get that little. Did you go anywhere? Come on, smack it. Oh, snagged on that stupid flower. Sometimes you can just see them, you know, be curious and follow it. And just like I was just talking about, maybe they're looking right at me and they're like, no, Slick, we've seen you down here before, and now that dog don't hunt. Although I don't think there's enough fish in here to. Oh, I heard something else splashing around. Put a little speed on it, see if I can get a track to strike. Nothing. I just reeled it right up into all those weeds. All right. You guys ID this plant? I'm not doing any more plant ID. I don't care anymore. I'm not treating it anymore. I'm not doing it anymore. If you guys need some help with it in your pond, I'll be glad to help you with it, of course. That's a big problem we've got. You know, I was always real careful about what I put in the water and how and to use the least amount of product possible. But the problem that I've got with our system, and they checked on me. They had, you know, I had people come to the house and check and make sure I was storing chemicals and recording all the things properly, and I'm for all that. You know, we should definitely have all that. But the problem that I had with the treatments, anybody in the public, any pond owner can go buy the exact same products and put them on the water, and there's absolutely no testing or checking of them, the public landowners, at all. And you know, if you get into how many calls I got that were related to weed control, that was most of them. And I'd say maybe 10% or 20% of them would actually hire you to do the job. So 80% of the people who called were, you know, couldn't afford it and were striking it off to do it on their own. It's a big part of why I'm trying to do what I do and trying to help people out. To try to get these chemical treatments that people are misusing, you know, under control. Have some place where they could talk to someone who's at least done it before, give them some pointers. I don't know. It's concerning for sure. People want to point the finger at all the guys, you know, spraying this place. Meanwhile, just over there, every Tom, Dick, and Harry is just going to the farm supply store and dumping chemicals in their ponds, you know, with no supervision whatsoever. So I'm absolutely for, you know, monitoring the dudes who treat the water, But let's monitor all the water treatments. Anyway, that's the show. Talk to you later.